Hi, everybody. My name is Perry Rosenstein. I'm one of the co-founders of Hustle. So I'll start with my background. My first job out of school was on the Obama campaign. I was a little bit spoiled. And I fell in love. I was a digital director. I guess they called it new media back then. And what I loved about it, what gave me the most excitement, was engaging people meaningfully in the political process to get them involved deeply with their democracy. And I worked on political campaigns for 5 or 6 years. And I found there was basically 2 modalities, ways that campaigns communicated with people. There were ways that were really deep and meaningful engagements, things like knocking doors and making phone calls. But they were really inefficient. You know, you hear a lot of stories, oh, I had a great conversation or two, but it took me hours to have those conversations. Or I made all these calls, but it took, I actually connected with 2 people. Then there are these broad ways of communication, people like press shops making TV ads, or what I did, I was a digital director, I ran email marketing campaigns. And you hit the button and then 1 million emails go out. Not only do they land in spam filters, but even the ones who do go through, they're not gonna drive the sort of deep, meaningful engagement that got me excited and improved our democracy. Maybe somebody give like $1 or $3 or whatever. So I didn't think it needed to be that way, and that was sort of became the mission for Hustle, to scale genuine human relationships, that it didn't need to be an either or. The way we did that is we built a text messaging platform. It turns out in 2017, the best way to communicate with people is over text. And the way we built our platform is that, let's say you wanted to engage folks. You upload a list, and you give each member of your team, maybe volunteers, here's a few hundred people to talk to. Here's a few thousand people to talk to around the goals that you're trying to achieve. And what that enabled you to do is each of those people had a few enough people that they could actually engage in meaningful conversation. But because you could distribute that work across your team, you could achieve the kind of scale that actually had a major impact. And we're about a little over 2 years in, and it's working. People are using it to fundraise, for volunteer recruitment, to get people to events, even just to keep people informed. We have over about 200 clients now, some of the biggest labor unions in the country and the world. Bernie and Hillary used it. We have some for-profits, labor unions, and increasingly institutions of higher learning are using it to communicate with alumni. We've gotten a lot of volume, so we've sent over like 55 million messages or have happened over the last 2 years. The thing I'm proud of is 1.6 million positive action. Those are people who have raised their hand to get involved, to go to an event, to give money. It's like 0.5% of America. We're very proud of kind of the reach that we've been able to have. So the reason I'm here today is sort of to ask you, I've never worked in government before. I've seen the depth of engagement that our tool has been able to have, and I have this feeling that this could be something that could really humanize governments and make people feel closer to their governments. But my question for you is how, and I'd love to talk about that. A little story. Hurricane Harvey hit, and one of my close friends works as a leader at a labor union there in Houston with teachers. And he said, listen, my people, they're struggling. Can we use you? We don't have money I'll get budget right now, but can we just message people and see if they're okay? And I was like, of course, do it. And I messaged him later. I was like, how did he do? And he's just he was moved almost to tears and said, people had not heard from any person personally during the whole storm. They were the first person to ask, are you okay? One mother said, my baby, I'm stuck actually in my house, my baby, I'm not okay. We ran out of diapers, and he figured out a way to get those delivered. And I'm just starting to think, it brought even more conviction for me being here right now, which is sort of are there more opportunities to do things like this? And why aren't we doing this all of the time and bringing human connection in a time when people need it most? So let's talk, let's have a conversation, not just philosophical, let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. I'm at the booth. My colleague Dan is there. I'd love to chat. Thank you.